So it has been a real pleasure doing this class with you. We have come a long way, right, from learning our definitions, absurdism, existentialism, and learning about sort of our major philosophers, Kierkegaard, Sartre, Camus, and what they have sort of presented to us in terms of philosophy. What do we do with it? What do we do with all of this when we leave the realm of books and literature and sort of re-enter into the real world? Well, I think a lot of you have addressed this in papers. A lot of you have looked at this in sort of the way that you've responded to certain questions, throughout the class. And it is something that I do find very gratifying to see people really taking these philosophies and thinking about them, right? Certainly, I do not, I don't want to tell you, what to do with these philosophies in your own lives, but I think that it's possible to really see how some of these philosophies fit with where we are, both personally, professionally, as students, as members of society, that there are lots of unanswered questions that existentialism and absurdism really were destined to sort of help us to deal with, right? By encouraging us, in many cases, right, in both the case of Sartre and the case of Camus, to do something. We must act. We must continue moving forward. And where I think that they are correct in their philosophy, where I truly believe that they have hit the mark on their philosophy, is that we cannot be passive, right? Being a passive observer of life doesn't really net us much good, right? Either we make decisions or people make decisions around us, and we become sort of the, if you will, the people who get dragged along, right? And we don't really ever control the things that we do. I think it's an important thing to be active, to be involved, and I think we can see this in a lot of different ways, right? This could be something that we look at and say, being involved means, being more involved with a political cause I believe in, with a charity that I believe in, with people that I need to engage with, taking control of my own life again, and sort of saying, this is who I am and this is what I'm going to do with it. Where I think that Sartre and Camus can kind of come into conflict with us is also a subject of a lot of papers that I saw, which were papers talking about how the conflict between life and existentialism, absurdism, and religion comes into play, right? Certainly Camus and Sartre were not very pro religion, and I think that this is something that of course is a very personal thing. For them it was personal, for us it will also be personal. And I do think that there are ways for the two philosophies to come together. I think that even in the words of Sartre, we see that he had respect for the young man who decided to become a Jesuit priest, because the man had interpreted these signs and made a decision and gone into it with his whole being, right? He had decided that because he had failed here, that instead of not doing anything, instead of walking away from things, he was going to turn to religion and become a priest. And we lose his story there, right? Sartre does not continue with his story, but what we see is that even for Sartre, somebody who undertakes something honestly, with free will, with their whole sort of being saying, I am responsible and I am making a choice, he respects that more than people who say, it's too hard, I don't want to make any choices at all. Camus, I believe, responds the same way. When we've seen what Camus, and in fact, even what Kierkegaard have said, that there comes a point when faced with what feels like a very terrible thing, in life, circumstances happening, tragedy occurring, that we are given two choices, right? To either leave or to stay and combat. For Kierkegaard, that staying and fighting through involves taking a leap of faith into, right, faith in religion. For Camus, it involves taking a leap of faith and saying that if there is nothing, then I will do everything in my power to make what I've got here the best it can possibly be. I will be a rebellion in myself and fight against what life has given me. I will not stop struggling. I think that in all three cases, what I hope this class has provided us with is enjoyable literature, some things that are really relative to where we are today, especially with the plague and dealing with society sort of responding to a plague in the various ways that it has, and that it gives us a roadmap of sort of action to take. Right? That the way forward is through action. The way forward is never through inaction and just sort of waiting. That it's easier to steer a boat if it's moving, right? If you're not moving anywhere and you try to change the direction of the boat, doesn't work, right? So this is where we will sort of end for the semester. Once again, my thanks to all of you. Your papers will be due on Monday, and they will be due by midnight, right? Try to get them in by the middle of Monday. The earlier, the better. If I've already gotten a draft from you, it should be a fairly easy way to deal with these papers, right? I will have already seen a lot of them. I will have already made some comments, and hopefully will have steered you in a direction that feels like it's working for you. Make sure that when you do turn in your paper, I have included in that assignment that I would like you to make an attempt to tell me what you think this paper is worth, right? You have the rubric in front of you. Let me know how you feel that you did. Certainly, I will still be making the decision as to what the grade is going to be, but I'm not going to take into consideration the way that you feel. I would like to know how you kind of evaluate your own work. Do you think that you put in the time and the effort? Do you think you made the points that you wanted to make? Are there places that you would like to have improved? That's all good information for me. It's good for me to know how you feel about it and how you feel that your work stacks up, right, against this rubric. So I thank you, and we will, I am sure, see each other at some point in the future, either here on campus or elsewhere. Good luck. Have a good break, and I will be waiting on your papers.